If we on there yet. Yeah. Okay. Hello. Round Table Talk Show.
You
Hello,
already
Chris.
know.
Hello, Chris. Roger Blue. Let's get started. Let's get started.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. This is Tuesday. Again, we love coming to y'all on Tuesdays at 9 o'clock. This is the Roundtable Talk Show, episode 37.
Bib said,
So, 37. So we are excited to be on the Knowledge is Power podcast live platform with our platform host, Tony Renfro. Of course, we always thank you all for allowing us to be in y'all space. And so, again, like I said, this is definitely our Tuesday. And family, welcome back to the Roundtable Talk Show. Like I said, we got some heat for you, of course, as we try to do as always. I'm your host, Christopher Jones, and tonight we aren't dancing around a daggum thing. I promise. We're in a country right now where it's too expensive to live, and as the title states, too early to die. And that's our topic for this particular episode. Um, I want y'all to know you can work a full-time job, pick up a side hustle, and still be choosing between rent and groceries, prescriptions and light bills. Um, you can serve this country, pay taxes for decades, and honestly still have nothing besides having to beg a system you funded just to stay alive. So make that make sense.
hmm.
Um, the conflict tonight is simple, you all. Um, they have turned survival into a luxury item. I mean, like at an astronomical price, right? We're going to identify the cause. Of course, decades of policy written to protect profit, not people. Again, profit, not people. Democrats and Republicans both signing off on budgets that never miss a payment to corporations uh, to fund war, foreign contracts, but somehow always come up short for the necessities of the people, like housing, food assistance, government, health assistance, schools, roads, interstate highways, bridges, infrastructure that makes us not only a better country, but a competitive people. And so we identifying the consequences, especially stress that shows up as strokes, worry that shows up as depression, evictions, repossessions, overdoses, quiet suicides, broken families, and people who are alive on paper but dead on the inside. But there is a cure. We're going to definitely show you all that too tonight. And it's not a quick fix. It's not an elixir, not a snake oil. It's none of that. and I and I will say it's not going to the polls alone. A cure that's rooted in what our ancestors did when the empire did not see them as human. You understand that? So um we're gonna have to do just like they did, like build community, right? Something that we've been talking about on this particular platform since the beginning. They shared food, they protected each other, didn't have to worry about SNAP or none of that because we didn't qualify for it. No way. Whether you had a man in the household or no way. Whether you gave up never mind. Because we know what eugenics did to people of color here in this country, we know that the legacy of some individual organizations and peoples. So tonight we're going to go from the national lies to state experiments in control to the local power we still have, even when we feel like we don't. We came to expose the scheme, call out the players, name the price, and map the way we move forward. We're not doing we're not doing it to scare you. We're not here to scare you. We're here to tell the truth and remind each and every one of you you are not crazy, you are not alone, and you are not powerless. And of course, I didn't come on, I like that background with the little Thanksgiving butterball turkey and stuff. I like that. It's nice. I'm just not noticing that. Go ahead, Tony. All the graphics and stuff. I want you all to know I never sit at this table alone. With me tonight is my big sister. I love to call her my big sister, Dr. Catherine Campbell. Some people in Beaumont call her Dr. Beauty, and I found out that not too long ago. But
Wow.
Dr. Catherine Campbell, say hello or good evening to our people.
Thankful to be here. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Absolutely. That is find what's hidden surgeon. That's what she do. She will cut through the fine print, the talking points, and the polished lies to show you exactly what they're hoping you never read or what we never talk about. My big brother Perry Busby. Say good evening to the people, big bro.
Good evening. Good evening. Glad to be here at the round table. Looking forward to the discussion. And as always, just breaking bread in the sense of facts with my friends and colleagues around the table. So happy to
Absolutely. Yes, indeed. He is the author, writer, and certified data hound, especially data hound at this table. When Perry steps in, the numbers start talking. He follows the money, tracks the trends, and proves what we've been feeling all along, right? I knew that mother. I knew that. That's how I be when I'm on the phone with him. I knew that mother. And my battle buddy, Dustin Harris. Yes, indeed. Say good evening to the people, battle.
Was that?
That is definitely the voice of the military veteran, independent thinker, to make it plain specialist, how he's been pinned with it. You understand? Dustin is definitely going to bridge the gap between political language and the real life. So nobody watching or listening to this show ever have to guess what we're talking about. So, y'all ready to move into these segments?
Let's do it.
Let's get it. Our first segment, of course, as you know, is our national topic, which is the price of staying alive when work wages and welfare stop adding up. Um, so let's start at the top of the food chain, especially on the federal level. They tell you the government reopened, right? Reopen. The government's open, and then they'll tell you um, we avoided disaster. But go ask a family member or a neighbor who was already behind on rent if disaster was avoided. If they didn't have nothing in their refrigerator already. Because the $12 that you gave them at the beginning of the month is gone. Oh, my bad. Maybe I'm the only one that's getting $12. Maybe I'll give you 12 more. The $24 that you got is gone. You, you, they pissing in our car, and you ask me if you got $24. But you know what I'm saying? The conflict at the national level is this: we have a government that can move trillions overnight for war or alleged war, for banks, for corporate cop outs or bailouts. Call them what you want. I call them cop outs because they all need to go to jail. But somehow, when it comes to us, to regular people, everyday people, everything gets slowed down, right? Complicated,
Mhm.
red tape, and conditional. On top of that, oh well, we got enough money, but we ain't got enough money for y'all.
Mm,
Make that make sense, and we the y'all that pays into it. What federal grants is the federal government getting?
mm,
Because this is not an accident, y'all. It's a model.
mm,
Freezing threatened programs like SNAP, WIC, housing assistance, disability benefits, um, military pay. Then blame the people who need them. Oh, it's y'all fault y'all
mhm.
didn't get paid. It's y'all fault y'all ain't got y'all own money. That it's y'all fault. That's y'all fault.
And that's
Plus,
the reason we pay taxes. Yeah, make it make
plus, y'all
sense.
got Plus, they pay pass tax cuts and subsidies for corporations. Then pretend, oh, there's no more money. They ain't got no money for healthcare, schools, FEMA relief. They don't have no money. They don't none of that. And mind you, we still got money that's missing allegedly that we had allocated already. Somebody need to go to jail. They know exactly what they are doing. And if we're always one paycheck, one illness, one accident away from the whole bottom just falling out, then obviously you don't have the time or the energy to organize, to protest, to demand better. We're too busy trying to survive, right? I'm too busy trying not to sell everything I got in my house like I'm on some type of addiction just to make sure that I eat, me and my family eat, you know? I almost said a little something else, but Miss K say keep it clean. The consequences of that model shows up in everyday life, y'all. Parents skipping meals so kids can eat. I remember hearing my grandmother say that about when they were going through the depression or something, right? I don't know. Parents skipping meals again so their kids can eat. Elders cutting pills in half to stretch one prescription into 2 whole months. Make that make sense? It doesn't. People working sick, working injured, working exhausted, putting their life and ours, especially if they work in a plant, in danger, in harm's way because rest is too expensive. Rest costs too much. Makes sense, man. And then on top of that, they have the nerve to tell each and every one of us this is the greatest country on earth. One that bombs fishermen in in international waters. Does that make? I don't know. If 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 that's greatness, then it needs to show up in the grocery store. It needs to show up at a clinic. It needs to show up in our mailbox in the form of three checks, not one, not two, but three. Because I remember during the election of 45, 47, um, there was oh, I got a check from this person. Well, this time we need three. And it ain't in the form of a PP. Run me my money, fam. You out here wasting my money in my face and telling the elected officials and the judges and the people that could arrest you, oh, you can't arrest me. This is what do you call it? Uh official business. This is an official order. Make that make sense. Then it is definitely not greatness because as you dig, you find out it's making a campaign for his 2028 election. Unconstitutional. Like 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 a whole bunch of people say, trash. Now here's where the cure starts, y'all. We have to stop measuring our loyalty to a flag and start measuring our loyalty to each other. Like I mentioned in a previous show, it does not matter what branch of service that you volunteered your time for. Everybody, regardless to branch of service, volunteered and took an oath to the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. It didn't say I as an army person, or a navy person, or as a air force person. That ain't what it say. It says I do solemnly swear to uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution of these United States. So, with that being said, that's the same sentiment that our communities, civilians, have moving forward. Um, we have to stop waiting on federal rescue to start forming federal level pressure from the ground up through organizing unions, alliances, legal action groups, and collective voices. We can't fix DC. I promise you, we can't fix this DC with a single vote. But we can stop pretending it's going to save us while it's feeding itself and the same machines that it was feeding in the past. Make that make sense. So this brings us to our power shots. Dr. Campbell, let me come to you first. You ready for your shot? Say yeah.
Yes.
When the cost of survival keeps climbing but wages stay flat, what are the hidden forms of violence being done to people's minds, bodies, and families? You have the floor.
I'm going to give you a critique of systemic economic violence.
Mhm,
I'm not going to solve the problem right here, just expose the mechanics of the violence being done to people's minds,
mhm.
bodies, and the families.
Okay.
Check this out. Walk with me. The math doesn't math. The bill gets taller, the paycheck stays the same. This is a quiet war waged in fine print and faded dreams. It's a violence to the mind, that constant hum of what if. The
Hmm.
calculator tapped at the kitchen table at 2 a.m. The shame that whispers you're bad at the game, where the rules were written against you. To the body, the second shift you work on broken sleep. The teeth you don't fix, the ache you ignore, the doctor's visit traded for grocery bills. We're grinding ourselves down to dust to prove we can still afford to stand. To the family, the not tonight, I'm too tired, that
Hmm.
becomes the wall. A birthday gift that becomes a silent apology. The
Hmm.
plan for tomorrow shelved for the emergency of today. It it steals our time, our patience, our softness, the very things a home is built on. They call it a tight budget, but it feels like a slow erosion, a thief of peace, of health, of moments. We're shivering, they say. I'm sorry, we're surviving, they say. But this kind of survival is a wound that never gets air. It's
Hmm.
the slow grind, that invisible tax.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean that. Ooh, you spit that like a poem, Queen. Like
I try.
butter. Yeah, like butter.
Mhm.
Perry.
Yes, sir.
Show us the receipts if you can, because you know they be trying to set stuff on fire like they did Negro churches. But show us the receipts within which shows us which industries and corporations are making record profits while most households are struggling just to stay housed, let alone housed and fed.
Uh, that I really appreciate this question because uh it has a multifaceted impact to it. You say
Mm,
what industries, uh, but when we look at the industries, we'll see that the companies at the top of those industries are the
Mhm.
ones who are making
Yep.
the record profits. But when you get to the small businesses and the mid-level businesses within those industries, they are facing insurmountable impact
mm-hmm,
Mhm.
by the policies. But when we talk about the industries, uh, the three that come to mind are the tech industry and specifically AI, which is just booming these days. Uh, but the thing about AI is sort of like that. If you're old enough to remember when they talked about the internet bubble in
it was
'99
gonna
and
make people
2000s
rich.
when
Yeah.
right, that it was gonna make people rich, and we saw the bust.
Yes.
We saw it go from boom to bust. Well, we're seeing that same thing now with AI because many are saying that these stocks are overvalued and
Hmm.
inflated with nothing but, I won't even say air. I say it's inflated with farts. Uh, more than air. Um, and when we also look at industries such as um, pharmaceuticals, we've
Mm-hmm.
seen a big boom in pharmaceuticals primarily because of the stress and the over gluttony of our industry that led to bad health. Now we see signs for Wegovy and Ozempic, and now that we have a big supply of people with bad health who need to lose some weight and lose it fast, well, now we see that Ozempic is now one of the medications that people can now get at a benefit. But then when you begin to look at some of the other medications for cancer,
Sickle cell.
uh, sickle cell, they're at astronomical prices. So yeah, the pharmaceutical business is making it, as well uh, and when I say law enforcement, let's be specific about law enforcement.
Yeah.
ICE is making big money right now. They
Mm-hmm.
are stripping local municipalities of their budget, and it's going straight to ICE, which means that now your local municipalities, your local law enforcement are now, in some cases, strapped for budget. In some cases, now don't have the resources to deal with the aftermath of ICE.
Right.
Because after ICE enters your community, now your community is in a position of uh, flight. They're in a position of fight or flight, more or less, in their community. So now we see this reallocation of funds. We see also the big deregulation as it the biggest policy deregulation as it impacts our industries.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Mm-hmm.
saying dereg you and for once they aren't lying about what this will do. They're saying the industry is saying, yeah, take rid of take away the deregulation, and then we won't have to pay the extra costs it takes to make the community and the people safe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
And
the
so
reason you
the other
get
side of that,
face
yeah,
recognition and license plate readers. Yeah.
yeah. And what that does is while they're saying get rid of deregulation, because it extends the cost, what the lack of deregulation does is it stymies innovation.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at what dismantling the Green Act has done to businesses and to those innovations in terms of climate control and in terms of the technologies now to uh, monitor and track better emissions. Now that they've gotten rid of that, who's watching the store?
Right.
And so, yeah, we see that those who have access not just to the gold, but access to the key to the one who has the keys to the gold
Mm-hmm.
are the ones who are maintaining their control, and it's hurting uh all of us, as you say. I mean, from our really at our pocketbook, but it's also having a toll on our psyche because now our workforce is changing, and in many cases, our communities will now go through uh, a lot of restructuring.
Yeah. Yeah. Dustin, you ready for your shot?
Yeah.
If you could, for the family that's already cutting corners, um, cheaper food, skipping doctor visits, of course, extra shifts picking up. What does this cost of survival look like in real life, not just on paper?
Well, survival look like it's always meant to be looked like and how it always has looked like. You work just hard enough to have your head above water until your body give away and you die.
Mm,
How else do you explain 60% of the US households have an income below the minimum quality of life threshold? And 44% of full-time workers don't earn a living wage.
Come on.
mm,
Simple as that. Sound like they don't want you to survive at all.
Mm,
mm.
mm, mm, mm.
They expect
Especially,
us to tough it out.
yeah, yeah. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps. When I keep saying we ain't even got shoes, we ain't got flip flops, fam. You talk about, and they don't have no shoes, no strings on flip flops, folks. They ain't got that. It's flip flops. Actually, that ain't even flip flops. Them thumb toes. And if you rock them for too long, that's gonna raw the middle of your big toe and your other toe.
Mm,
Yeah. So yeah, yeah. My shot is if the system is clearly designed to keep people permanently tired and behind, what does intelligent resistant look like that does not feed the very machine we're trying to dismantle? And what I believe, especially in this particular age, intelligent resistance starts with three moves. Number one is tell the truth without apology. Like the old folks used to say, tell the truth, shame the devil.
mm,
Um, some of these people, again, you know, we've identified who they really are. And so in instances, we have to know to stop sugarcoating what's happening, especially what we see happening at the hand of people that look like us and people that allege to be in alliance with us. Again, stop blaming yourself for a rigged system. Like Dustin said, this system been here.
Mm.
This system been here, and it's gonna run with and or without you. But this system has always been here. When you call a setup, it frees you from shame and opens the door to strategy, y'all. I promise the door becomes open. You see it clearly now because you're no longer distracted by individuals you thought were on your side, right? Number two, organize where you actually are. Say it again. Organize where you actually are. Your job site,
Your
that's
coffee
where you
shop,
at. The coffee shop, the barber shop, the beauty shop, your
your
apartment
classroom.
complex, your classroom, your church house,
Mm-hmm.
your block, each block, all four sides of your block.
You teach kids on the porch.
I'm saying that's where you find the people who are catching the same hell you are. You don't need everybody. We don't need everybody. You don't need a committed thousand. You only need a committed few. I promise. A committed thousand is good, especially if you could delegate and they willing to follow. That's good. But you only need a few. You only need a few. Number three, starve the beast where we can. And this I think this is like my favorite one. And I mean starve that sucker till it's po. I remember when being an 80s baby, I remember looking or hearing Sally Struthers show us kids from Africa. You remember that too, Dustin. You remember it too. Yeah, you remember it.
That
Starve
old
the
5 cents a day will feed
Yeah,
us
for
somebody.
5 cents a day. You can feed a whole village of people for 5 cents a day. Now you need that same 5 cents an hour, if not every minute. So, number three, that means like boycotting certain companies. If not certain companies, boycott them all. Boycott every last one of them. If it ain't local, don't buy it. If you can't go knock on the person door who owns the establishment where you shop, don't buy it. If they don't have a 7770 something zip code like you do, don't buy it. If they don't have a 409 area code, don't buy it. If you can't see them picking up grocery at the Sam's like you do, don't buy it. And if they are not an alliance to you and your community, don't buy it.
Cut them off. Cut them off.
Cut them off and and cauterize it. You don't need it. You don't need it. So, you know, move your money to a credit union, if not your backyard. I said that once before. Bring it to a credit union. Cooking at home instead of feeding corporations every night. McDonald's, Jack in the Box, churches, Popeyes.
You got to build your life on a different operating system.
You show better. You show better, especially now, because every night you have to remember that you are sharing resources so you and all your dependencies can have. Now you got to spend less. Every dollar you direct becomes a small action of liberation. They want us to either explode or give up altogether, y'all. That's what it is they want. But this is the third lane. This is the third lane. Discipline, organized, relentless pressure that doesn't burn us out but builds us up. That's what we need. That's what it's gonna take. Flashpoint for this particular um segment is, of course, chat, this is for y'all. Um when you look at your own life right now, what's squeezing you the most? Put one in the chat for housing, put two in the chat for food and bills, put three in the chat for healthcare and meds, and put a four in the chat for all of them at once.
Like you robbing Peter to pay Paul.
That's what it boils down to. That's what it boils down to. I'm
Robin Paul too.
I was about to say
Yeah,
Robin
no,
Paul too.
we by that Bartholomew, right by now. Peter Paul, shoot.
Bartholomew.
I'm going to check, I'm going,
Bartholomew.
I'm going to check Judas' pockets. What you talking about?
That's what I'm saying.
We know for sure he at least got
Take
30.
that,
He
take
got
that
at
gold.
least 30.
Take that gold too for at least that silver one. Out his mouth.
Mhm.
Man, I promise y'all. I promise. So let me put this let me drop that in the chat for y'all so y'all can respond to that. And then Dr. Campbell,
Yes,
we like to give our listeners and viewers the know they rights, right?
sure.
But one of the things I definitely wanted to in this for this particular segment was to let people know if this government shut down and you think because the government shut down, you can't get any legal work done, that's false. So, real quick, some rights you may not know you have are
You can
right to go ahead.
go ahead.
You have the right to talk about pay and working
Mm-hmm.
conditions with your coworkers. That's
Mm-hmm.
protected activity under federal law. You could do that. You could definitely do that. It's even in so-called right to work states, um, like Texas.
Right.
Uh, silence helps the boss, not you. So I just want you to know, keep quiet, and your boss gonna take over. What you got, one, Dr. Campbell?
Yeah, your medical debt can sometimes be reduced,
Mm-hmm.
negotiated or challenged.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Many hospitals are required to offer financial assistance, but they never tell the patients. So ask for it. If you don't ask, you don't receive.
Facts. Facts.
hmm You can file
Facts.
for federal and state complaints about wage theft, unsafe conditions, and discrimination.
And
Those
that's
records become
especially if
part
you
of.
are a senior. If you
Mm,
are a senior, if you are a senior, meaning
hmm,
on Social Security or fixed income, and your money don't show up, that's considered theft.
theft.
Especially if there's a contract that says your money's supposed to show up on the first or the third, or the first or the 15th, and it don't, that's a breach of contract. You can sue. Me and Dustin told you we love sue. Go ahead, Dr. Campbell.
So, also seniors, you can report unsafe conditions and discriminations. Those records become part of the official trail when change is demanded. So make sure that you file all of that and keep record of it yourself.
Yeah. Dustin, you got some know your rights you want to throw out there?
No, but I always keep a lawyer on speed
Speed dial.
dial, back list. You ain't gotta have them on speed dial, but don't forget the number. Keep the card handy.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Perry, you got some know your rights you want to throw out there?
No, but just that, know your rights. Know you have rights.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we come to a point that some people think that, you know, the system is all knowing, and the system uh word is final. I mean, if nothing else, I can point to at least my sister Letitia James and James told me,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
whatever comes at you, fight it.
Fight
If you
it.
Mm-hmm.
know that you have a
Fight it.
ground to stand on, stand
Stand
your ground.
on your ground. That's
Yes,
right.
indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Um, our roundtable question for our national topic is if the cost of survival has become a form of control, what does it look like to shift our loyalty from this system to each other in a way that's real, not just a slogan? Dr. Campbell, I'm coming to you first. You already know, ladies first.
So think of the pillars: real time and energy, bulk collective power, and shifting focus from survival to dignity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to show you an example of side hustles as stolen time, unions as shared strength, and a reframe making a living into building a life.
Mm,
It looks like refusing the second shift to protect your sleep. It looks like sharing a pot of soup with a neighbor instead of facing a lonely, expensive meal. It looks like a demand for a fair wage spoken together, not a desperate plan alone. It's
mm-hmm.
turning "we can't go on like this" into a real plan. Trading the myth of individual hustle for the muscle of mutual aid fund. Measuring wealth into hours reclaimed for rest, not in things bought on credit. It's a
Mm-hmm.
quiet rebellion of priorities. Okay. Choosing time over stuff, choosing community over competition, choosing a shared deep breath over a solitary ragged one. It's
Hmm.
building a life, not just paying for the right to survive one. Mic drop.
Man, man, can I tell you the picture you got up right now?
What's that?
It fits the energy that you speaking, I promise. And it got to say
Feel me roar here.
come
Not hear
on, feel
me.
my
Feel
help.
me roar.
Perry. Perry, you have the floor.
Uh, to piggyback on Dr. Campbell,
Come
and
on.
give this perspective, it's always been said that what you put your time and energy to is what you get back.
Mm-hmm.
And we've all grown accustomed to this word hustle. And I think we've taken the essence of hustle and become the hustle.
Mm.
Mm.
Because as you say, when at the onset of the show, we're now working two jobs, sometimes three jobs, just to make ends meet. But that's at this snapshot. We was working two and three jobs before, putting Jordans on feet,
Mm.
putting putting other folks' hair on our head.
Watch
Game
out there now.
consoles in the house.
Right. We had every new gadget that came about. Every new iPhone, Galaxy that came out. We was ahead of the crack.
Miss Cat say, son, don't come for my hair.
Watch out there now.
But we've done it. We've worked 2 or 3 jobs, as I said, to put Jordans on feet. But little Johnny was at home, unattended, unchaperoned, left to the wolves because we said we needed to get our kids some things that we didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you was working at the plant, pulling the double, getting that holiday money, that time and a half. You know how we always
Mm-hmm.
tend
Mm-hmm.
to explain what we say is our hustle, and at the same time, we are getting our ass
Hustle.
hustled
Yes, indeed.
Mm,
because
And
you've
great
not
margins.
right, because you've not invested your time into the things that will bring you value.
there you
Mm-hmm.
go.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Choosing
leave it
wants
that
over
way.
needs.
Yeah. Dustin, you got the floor.
All right. So, with all this foolishness they got going on, this look a lot like 476 and also 1453. People might not know what those two dates mean. Those are the dates when the Roman Empire officially crashed.
Come on, Dustin.
And that's what it's looking like. Once greed caught up, it finished them off. And all we seeing is greed left and right.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
not only just greed, Dustin, but when Rome went against its military empire, it crumbled for sure. And that's what we're seeing the United happen in the United States as well, is you are going against your actual internal military power. Wow. Wow, y'all bringing that heat today. Here's where I stand, especially in this in that particular with that particular question. Shifting loyalty from the system to each other means this. I mean, we stop bragging about making it out the hood or making it out of this place or making it out of that
Mm-hmm.
place, and about what we have accomplished. Stop bragging about, oh, I got masters, bachelors, doctorates, and start committing to holding it down together on a collective level. If you know that later on down the line we're going to need some of the same skills that you just so happen to went to college for, or you just so happen to got a certification for, or you just so happen to have started a business in, um we're going to ask that you bring yourself back to the community as well as that information. We don't want your money. Let us go make our own money. But we need the skill. We need the information. We need the knowledge. We need the onset. We need the inset. But if you got it and you got it closed, then we've identified you as the gatekeeper. You're not welcome no way.
May I also add into that, Chris, that the current administration, as a way to offset this astronomical student loan debt, the current administration is now undertaking a task to determine what is and what isn't a professional degree. And one of the professions that this administration called out as non-professional of all things was nursing.
Yeah,
And
Y'all better
and
pay
teachers.
teaching.
attention.
And
Mm-hmm.
Y'all better
teachers.
pay attention.
Hmm.
All that's just a game because you do know all the professions that they made non-professional. They did it for the purpose of while they're if they work their job for so many years, their loan would get forgiven. But
Right,
if
right.
you make them non-professional, that loan cannot be forgiven.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's a
Yep.
money game.
A
Watch out,
whole money
y'all.
game. A whole money game. But this is what it looks like, y'all. Like I said earlier, buying from each other before we run to big box chains or
Mm-hmm.
non-alliant people, non-allianced corporations, non-allianced businesses in our local communities. They're there. Don't act like they not, because you know they there. We patronize them and we see nothing come from their store into our communities. So don't make me go there. Okay? Sharing information instead of hoarding it for personal advantages. Oh, I know we could write this little grant, or I know we got this little stash, or we share, share it, stop gatekeeping. Watching one another's kids, checking on elders, and not letting neighbors disappear into depression or eviction without anyone knowing. You see where we're going here? It also
Mm-hmm.
looks like telling the truth to people we love, especially those we say we love. Not be rude, but be truthful. You are not failing. This system is. Period. I want you all to know. Listening here on this evening, you are not failing. The system is. But we as a collective are failing as a collective. And we should have been reading this system a long time ago. Um, Once we agree on what that looks like, what that you know, especially when the shame lifts and the organizing began. Again, we're gonna have to go through some changes, some shame too. But when the organizing begins, that's when we start to build a system that we can trust. The system wants you isolated and ashamed. Community loyalty says, I see you, I hear you. I will not leave you to face this alone. And thanks for sharing. Because we have to make individuals feel comfortable with sharing even the weight and voice that many of them carry. All right. Um, that's the national layer. Now, let's zoom in just a little bit to where a lot of this control is being worked on or worked out in real time. And as you know, uh, 4547 calls it states' rights. And so, because if the federal level is the engine, we definitely know that the states' rights is to create the laboratories. So, segment two is uh, laboratories of control, how states are rewriting the rules of who gets to live well, let alone live. And so, um, we're talking about the states, of course. The conflict here is that states, especially in the South and the Midwest, have decided they're going to be the best test sites of human control, um, especially when it comes to unaccounted for human life. The past anti-protest laws that they pass, so it's hard for you if you stand up for clean air, fair housing, police accountability, government accountability, or transparency. You can be treated like a criminal 100%. The attacks that we face and find on diversity, equity, and inclusion, not because those programs were perfect, but because even the hint of fairness is a threat to an unequal system. We just told you how they're removing the jobs or the professionalism behind some of these degree professions. Make that make sense. But again, like we've identified, they only doing it so that they could decrease the deficit and bring that money back into the 1%'s pocket. The cost behind it is strategic. I definitely want you to know. If you erase history, criminalize resistance, and strip cities of their power, you can and will create a playground for corporations and political donors. That's what we're looking at. You make it easy to put plants, prisons, and projects wherever they want. And the people most affected by it can't stop it because you done remove them either out of that voting district or just dissolve that district altogether. Make that the consequences are deadly and familiar. Neighbors locked out of decisions that shape their schools, their policing, their air, their water, what it's, just what it smell like, the corporations, the businesses, or careers that they have access to, right? Um, Teachers teaching in complete fear because they don't know if their child or children in their class is going to pass the test that's mandated by the state. That makes sense. Local officials scared to stand up because the state can punish their cities financially. We ain't making enough out here no way. Go ahead, punish us. But you gonna pay what you owe, Santa. You gonna pay what you owe. But the cure at the state level is this, y'all. We stop thinking of our struggle as just something local, something that Beaumont is going through, okay? Or something that Houston is going through, or Jennings, or Elton, or Rain, or Roanoke, or New York, or Tennessee. These are other there are other spaces that's going through the same stuff in their cities, like Albany. Check out Georgia. It'll get you swimming in the head, especially with MTG retired out of nowhere. I'm telling you, we're gonna have to come back on now. But this is what we do. We stop thinking of the struggle as just local. We link cities and counties together. We build networks that share data, lawyers, strategies, and stories so that every attack in one city becomes a warning and a lesson for others. States are being used as laboratories of control. We, everybody, have to become laboratories of liberation. And if you're ready, I definitely want you to know it's not going to be an easy win. It's not going to be an easy win. So, Dustin, you ready for your shot?
Yeah.
For folks at home who might say, that's just politics, it don't affect me, what are the everyday ways that state laws already shape their paycheck, their classroom, and their air?
Well, it's just politics until you no longer have a local hospital. It's just politics until your child is sick because food companies are allowed to stop checking to see what's inside your kid's favorite food, which nowadays is most likely probably full of lead. It's
Wow.
just politics until you realize the bank can free willingly now deny you a loan just because of how you look or who you date, while refusing to let you take your own money out of your
Out
own
of the
account.
bank.
But it's just politics.
Yes, indeed. Dr. Campbell. You
Yes.
ready for your shot?
I'm so ready. Yes.
How do stripping schools, libraries, and local governments of honest history and home rule make it easier to keep communities sick, silent, and under control?
Well, when you cut a tree's roots, it cannot stand tall. So walk with me.
Hmm. Hmm.
First, they steal your history. They replace your shared story with a comfortable ghost. You fight ghosts with no names, never knowing the real enemy. Then they strip your tools. Libraries close. Teachers teach obedience, not thinking. Local
Hmm.
leaders have their hands tied. They can't fix your water, your roads, or your parks. A sick body is weak. A silent voice is unheard. A divided community is easily managed. It makes you doubt your own pain. It makes you blame your neighbor. It keeps
Mm-hmm.
you fighting over scraps while they control the whole meal. It's a quiet takeover. They don't
Mm-hmm.
they don't need soldiers in the streets when they own the story in your head,
Thanks. Especially if they can create
the
the
narrative.
narrative and and get
They don't
action
need
out to
no soldiers. That's right.
man, man. Um, my shot says if states are being used as laboratories of control, what does it look like for communities to become laboratories of liberation, even while those laws are on the books? And here's what
Mm,
a laboratory of liberation looks like. Because it's not a word salad. I just definitely want y'all to know that. Number
mm-mm.
one,
Girl,
we experiment with power at the local level. We don't wait for permission to organize tenant units, unions, workers' co ops, mutual aids, and community land trusts. We don't wait on that. We test that
no.
work and we share the blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, we synchronize our fight. If one city is fighting a protest ban, we all fighting it.
That's right.
It becomes an issue over here too, because that's all they're gonna do is seek out the weakest community so that they can pinpoint, oh, here's the weak spot that we could put that in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Then it's like the
an-
weakest link.
right. Another fight. Another is fighting book bans. I
Right.
definitely want y'all to know, um, the book bans is on a rise on purpose. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
another fight. Um, in our community that we plan is fighting a pollution plant. We connect each and every neighborhood. We connect each and every community.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, everybody got the same lawyer.
Yeah.
Everybody
A
got the
a
same
peer
researcher.
network. Yeah.
Right.
A peer.
Everybody got the same media.
Mm-hmm.
And the pressure that comes from your media is the same pressure we're gonna use on over here.
Mm-hmm.
That way, the state can't quietly pick us off one by freaking one like they're doing currently.
Mm.
Number three, um, we make them chase us, not the other way around.
Right.
Instead of always reacting to their laws, we start passing local resolutions, community
Mm-hmm.
charters, and
Create a
public
safety net.
demands that, yes, public demands that put them on record. That's the safety net, especially if I could get you on record. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
man.
Mm-hmm.
If I could
Mm-hmm.
get you on record, we can force them to either agree with the people or expose themselves by opposing common sense protections.
That's right.
We may not control the state house, but we can make it very expensive. And I do mean extremely expensive, politically and financially, for them to keep stepping on us as if we're towels at the base of the tub. Flashpoint for this particular segment on our state level is, I'm sorry, my bad, Perry. I didn't see you come back in here. You want your shot?
Okay. Yeah, I'll take my shot. I ain't
Okay,
turned down a shot in my life.
Ah, I was ready to take it for you, Perry. I ain't lying.
For the look, I'm ready to pour one out for the brothers that ain't here, huh?
Hey man,
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
smidget, just a smidget. When you line
I
up
was
the state
ready.
laws, Perry, anti-protest, book bans, attack on DEI or diversity, equity, and inclusion, preemption of local power, what story do the numbers tell about who's being targeted and why?
Well, the numbers are obvious. It is targeting uh minority and immigrant uh efforts within the advancement of this country.
Hmm,
It's to it's to wipe away their history.
mhm,
I was thinking earlier today, there was always the sentiment that, which was oxymoron, that slaves were lazy.
Mm,
And and
really?
nowhere have I ever seen a lazy slave. And if one were considered a lazy slave, then my question is, where was master
Mm.
to even assess one's laziness? Uh, but yeah, we see
The
this
country was built on a lazy slave's back, really?
right. Right.
Make that make
uh
sense.
but the fallacy in all of this, and I'm gonna share the article, which I read an article today. The University of Minnesota is has a class on whiteness, and it was so funny because having heard uh whites and particularly Republicans ran against DEI and this thing on wokeness and their appeal to get rid of one's history, because again the oxymoron in that is, well, why should we have black history, why should we have Latino history, where is the white history? And I'm like, well, your ass was asleep in class, because that was all white history that they taught in class.
correct.
But now the University of Minnesota has made a proactive step to do a class on whiteness, primarily to help white people understand that whiteness is not a race, whiteness is a policy.
Hmm,
And it is a policy that is adopted and taught at home.
hmm,
And to align what that whiteness looks like in terms of microaggression, in terms of disinterest in other communities, in terms of one's ability to say that they are colorblind.
hmm.
And now white people are upset and they're calling it a DEI class. And I'm like, but this is on whiteness. So make it make sense. It's what I'm saying. What we've got to do, despite all of that distraction, is that despite what their attempts are, uh, the history that has been lost the most is the history that we've lost in our communities through the lack of communication, through the lack of self teaching, through the lack of uh, of looking at other alternatives as opposed to teaching our own history. We've opted to put more, as I said before, it's where we put our interest. We put more interest into developing top athletes.
Yeah.
We put more interest into making stars or entertainment. But when we begin to look at, and especially in Beaumont, when we look at the amount of intellectual resources that has come out of Beaumont, I swear it surpasses all of the athletic abilities that have come out of Beaumont.
Mm.
I will put good money on that.
Oh, we
Good money, huh? Not bad. With good money.
with good
Yeah,
money.
yeah. And that's Jerry Levice, that's Bubba Smith, who else? That's Babe, Dietrichson, and Harris, and I pull in the white folk as well.
Come on, babe.
The athletic abilities that have come out of Beaumont pales in comparison to the intellectual abilities and contributions out of Beaumont that has been made around this country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, brother.
And the sad fact about it is most of Beaumont don't even know it.
Don't even
Don't
know
even
it.
know it.
Because they are controlling the narrative in America. They. Yeah.
Oh, man. Flashpoint. Hey, chat. Of course, I want to definitely hear from you. And your question is, which state move hits you hardest where you live? And of course, I'm gonna ask you probably for your zip code or your city. But put one in the chat if it's book bans and gag laws. Put a two in the chat if it's anti-protest and anti activist laws. And put a three in the chat if it's attack on your local city power. Put a four in the chat if you notice cuts and attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as civil rights. And put a five in the chat if you'll say, I think I noticed all of them above, Chris. I mean, like they coming after it all. Put a five in the chat um, if they coming after it all of the above. And let me drop that in the chat right fast so y'all can have that and let us know. Again, if you want to say somebody put five, 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 five,
I ain't playing. They ain't playing.
all of the above. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Know your rights for this particular segment. Of course, at the state level, you still have tools. And I definitely want you to know under most state public information laws, you can request emails, travel records, donor lists, and contracts that show who our lawmakers are um, and who they really work for. You could also, if you're um, elected seat is not occupied by somebody that you voted for or occupied, period. That's taxation without representation. You could definitely make some moves in that space. And I will say it's more to it than just your city council. It's more to it than your mayor, your governor, your state rep, your county rep. It's bigger than that. I just definitely want y'all to know. Find out all of your electable seats, and when you find one that's vacant, say, "Hey, no taxation without representation." And I promise they gotta do it. City councils and county commissions can pass resolutions of opposition and call public hearings on state laws, especially when they find out that those laws don't coincide with their constituency and or their charter. So, um, They won't do it unless the people demand it, though. I definitely want you to know it. They are not
Mhm.
going to do it unless you say, hey, I need you to go take care of this right here. Or go to city hall or city council or commissioner's court or reach out to your county judge and say, hey, I need you to look at this for me. Even your district attorney can help you. Multi-city alliances, of course, can share attorneys, data, and organizers. That means when a harmful law hits one place, five other places are already prepared to resist, document, and sue if
Mm.
necessary.
Mm.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I want you all to know that. Roundtable question for this particular segment
Hold
is
on.
you
Perry,
got some know your rights?
no, no. Perry got kicked off. He's backstage.
Oh, he back in.
I'm back on. I'm back on.
Oh, okay, okay,
Thanks.
cool. Uh-huh.
Um, Roundtable question for this particular segment. Again, this is our state topic. If the states have become laboratories of control, what is one practical step we can take right now to reclaim self rule without falling into the chaos they are definitely trying to bait us into, which is civil disobedience, civil disrest, eventually martial law. Um, so
Is that it?
yeah, without failing into chaos, uh, what are they baiting us toward? Oh no, that's my little comment. If states are busy tightening control, what is one concrete way people in any city can start to build a parallel power base that doesn't wait on permission? Dr. Campbell, you have the floor.
Okay, so here are four concrete ways to build power starting now. You can form a common ground network. So what this is going to look like, you're going to go hyper local, create a neighborhood pod, not for doom, but for mutual aid. It's a
Mm,
phone tree for sharing childcare, swapping skills, and pooling tools. This builds a tangible safety net that replaces waiting for help. Okay. Number two, you can unionize your workplace. We talked about this earlier. So, any workplace from coffee shops to tech offices, collective bargaining is a direct counterweight to corporate power. It's workers deciding their worth together and forcing a fairer share of profits they create.
mm-hmm,
Number three, you can launch community land trusts. Pool resources, even small ones, to buy a vacant lot or a building, own it collectively forever. Use it for affordable housing, community garden, or co op. And it physically takes land off the speculative market and puts it under community control.
mm-hmm,
And number four, you can create a people's assembly, host regular town halls on your own terms in a park, a community center, a church, places like that. You can discuss local problems and take direct action, whether
yes,
it's a rent strike, a campaign to bail out a local business, or clean up a public space without waiting for City Hall. It's practicing democracy from the ground up.
mm-hmm,
Community knowledge hubs teach what schools won't. Host Know Your Rights workshops in living rooms. Share
right,
honest history at the park. This builds a parallel power base because it makes people materially less reliant on systems being weaponized against them. It forges trust and collective muscle. It proves that real power isn't given, is built together from the ground up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Perry, you have the floor.
Um, and Dr. Campbell picked up. Not playing devil's advocate, but to someone who is listening tonight, they'll say, man, all of that sounds good, but how do we do it? And Chris, you said it up front. It doesn't take everyone to do this.
Mm-mm.
I think where our communities need to start is one to get an inventory of what we have
Uh-huh.
In the
because
neighborhood.
in addition to hearing all of the misinformation and stereotypical information
Mm-hmm.
and disinformation about our communities, the one thing that we have to do is guard against being the first ones to co-sign
Hmm.
uh, these statements, even
Mm-hmm.
if they contain a shred of truth.
Right, right.
My thing is, I'm not taking anybody's story without including my words, my feelings, my point of view into this story.
Mm-hmm.
No one can tell our we say this. No one can tell our story but us. But if we aren't talking, then where is the story?
Yes.
And so what we have to do, and again, I think it starts in small pockets. For those who are committed in retaining property and reconstituting property, that those individuals have to get together. But getting Reverend Jones to stand in the pulpit and go on for hours confusing people between the land grant and the building fund
Yeah.
and the second offering only confuses us.
You said the second offering.
And
The
and,
second
and so
offering. Wait, no, it was the building
but this is
fund,
the
the
dilemma. But
land
this is
fund.
the dilemma that we live in. This is the dilemma that the people live in.
Okay, so Perry, I did
And
say,
so,
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I did give, as you're playing devil's advocate, I did give tangible uh areas to start in, like with sharing childcare, right? Swapping skills. Chris said
Yeah,
earlier, swapping skills, and pooling tools. I mean, those are tangible things that
yeah,
can be done right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what I was saying. I think one of the things that we should be doing in our communities is getting, if not an assessment, at least an inventory
Of
of
what
what
it
we
is
have
that
in our
we have.
communities.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean,
And
because
it
we
can
all
be as
grew up in
simple
a
as
day where, yeah,
I
I'm
was
just saying, we all grew up in a day where they had where Miss 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 Etna was keeping children after school and teaching. Well, we've lost that symbiotic thread that kept us connected.
that
Mm-hmm.
network.
And we
Yeah.
got new and we got right, yeah, and so yeah, so I agree with you. I'm agreeing. Those are necessary things, and so how do we get them? Because those things happen at a level in our community that even sometimes those who are even more an advocate for the community overlooked because that's not in their sphere.
Yeah,
And what I'm saying is that we have to begin to take a look inside. Black Beaumont leadership needs to take a self-assessment inside before going to the city to say, well, what you gonna do for us
what you
or
gonna do for us, and
advocate
we
for
don't even know
something
what
to
we can
do for
ask
us.
for.
Right.
Yeah,
And we don't even know what we bring to the table. I mean, if we gonna barter, we have to know what we're bringing to the table and not just
absolutely,
grievances.
absolutely, absolutely. Dustin, you had the
You know,
floor.
and it goes
Oh,
back
I'm
to that
sorry. Go
lazy
ahead.
slave. I mean, if we want, right,
Come
it
on,
goes
lazy
back to the
slave.
lazy slave. If they think that Black Beaumont is lazy and all Black Beaumont does is want an athletic statement, athletic complex out of a bond, that sounds like a gimmick.
Man,
We did not put anything up front to say this is the least you can do.
at least without a bond.
Right, without a bond. Going back to that turf, but I'm gonna leave that alone.
Dex, Dustin, you had the floor.
It's I'm gonna keep real short, simple. Let's see. We have local meat markets, local grocery stores, local boutiques for your clothes and accessories or whatnot. So just here's a little game. Ask Disney, and let me see who the other company I had on there. And Target, how I feel when local money start disappearing.
Target,
Yeah,
and
Target
who
is
else?
feeling it right now.
Yeah,
Disney.
Disney changed their whole political views.
Yes, they have.
Yeah.
And
And
Target is
I'm
really
quite
feeling it right now.
yeah, I'm quite sure after they see how many people are actually committed to checking out during the holiday season as well. And I'm not talking about checking out at your kiosk or at your cash register. They just not doing it. It's so many people I done heard that said they're not doing it. Period. And so like you said, Dustin, they've identified ways that they could, you know, be a be a powerful arm from their community. So I will say, knowing your local charters and using every inch of authority cities still have. That's what we could do right now. Especially knowing that states' rights, especially here in the state of Texas, they're coming after your home rule. Training up people in our own communities who understand law, policy, and budgets, not just politicians, but neighbors who can read the paperwork as well.
That's
Being
right.
disciplined in how we respond. I remember Dr. Campbell told me something or said something a few weeks ago about being strategic in our response.
Hmm.
And so, you know, if we're going to be strategic in our response, we definitely have to be disciplined in how those responses look, right? They want riots and chaos so they can justify more crackdowns. We answer instead with boycotts, like Dustin said, withholding, legal action, like Dr. Campbell said, sitting in your living room, coordinated voting where it still counts. If we check out on the not on the national level is to a point to where we're not voting for a president at all, but we're sending somebody to DC to represent. We're sending somebody to Austin to represent. We're looking at the judges that affect us directly to represent. We're electing a district attorney and our county commissioners, our port commissioners, and our local city council so that our buffer is ground. right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything we have on the ground is ours. And the moment ours on the ground either becomes tainted or is no longer providing fruit, well, according to the scripture, you're supposed to cut that thing down. And so that's part of building our own systems in a parallel. We don't have to choose between, you know, being submissive or submission to the state and be self-destructive. There's a third lane: organized, principle, collective, self-rule. Organized, principled, collective, self-rule.
Mm-hmm. Build it.
Yes,
Build it
indeed.
stable time.
We've talked about the cost of survival at the national level. We've looked at how states are tweaking the controls. Now we're bringing it home to the block, to the neighborhood, to the city, where most of us actually live and where our power is the most real. So our local segment, segment three, from surviving together to governing together, building community power that no election can erase. None, you hear me?
No.
No, not one. And so um this last segment is where it gets very personal, or should get personal, for each and every one of you that are listening and
Mm-hmm.
watching. And again, it's not definitely indefinitely for Beaumont, but it's for every person on a local level, especially in urban and rural areas in the South. We're living um in neighborhoods where we barely know the people next door, let alone around the corner. But we
Mm-hmm.
know the brands at the mall. We know the politicians and their slogans, but not the bylaws of our own city. We can recite a song lyric faster than we can name one local ordinance that shapes our daily life. I mean, shapes our entire daily life. The causes go deep, very deep, because generations of broken promises, redlining, disinvestment, over policing, church hurt, political betrayal, all of that has left people saying, I'm done, I done checked out. The consequences is exactly what the system wants. Empty council chambers, low voter turnout, weakened neighborhood associations, or non-existent neighborhood associations. Folks so discouraged they believe nothing can and or will change in their favor. But here's the cure, and it's not hypothetical. Excuse me. We have the ability right now to start building community sovereignty.
That's
Food
right.
networks where we can buy, cook, grow, and share in ways that don't leave anybody hungry. Housing power where tenants organize, fight evictions, and push for community and land trust, so land doesn't keep getting snatched or lost in the sauce at the encroachment of government or industry. People's courts and safety teams focus on de-escalation, conflict resolution, and rapid response when the state tries to, and or city tries to abuse its power. Community schools where elders, tradespeople, and professionals teach what the system refuses to. Real history, money management, law, health, land, and strategy. We're not waiting on a political savior. We're reclaiming something older than this government itself, and that's the right of a people to govern themselves. That doesn't mean we ignore elections, y'all. It means we stop confusing elections with freedom. Freedom starts at home, in our block, in our city, and then at the ballot box. Dustin, since Miss Cat done fell off. Oh yeah, that's right. She said she got they gonna be bringing her some medicine in a little bit or something. Yeah, okay. So um wait. Tony, mm, uh Dr. Campbell say put it in the game, coach.
Fair too.
Pierce say put him in the game, coach. Oh man.
But
Pierce say
I'm
he
ready.
backstage. Dustin, your shot for a block. I'm sorry, that's Perry. How do we invite in the people who feel burned out, skeptical, or ashamed? The ones who say, I checked out a long time ago, and or make them the co-builders, not just bystanders.
You have to have honest, non-blaming conversations.
Mm,
Build the conversation in the gatherings and build those gathering in the movements. But it has to start with just, hey, how you doing? How do you feel about something with no judgment?
mm-hmm,
Everybody had their own opinion about everything political.
mm-hmm.
Some people, that's why most people don't talk about it because some people take
Right.
it entirely too personal. So keep it at a simple conversation and
Yeah.
build from there. Don't go all into straight who you voted straight off the bat. Everybody
Right.
ain't comfortable with that. Let it be a simple walk-in conversation of two people probably sitting on a bench somewhere getting to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. Feed them birds, have a little
Yeah.
convo, keep it moving.
Yeah. Cheering, playing at the park. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Perry,
I'd like to add.
go ahead.
So, besides that, sometimes they don't even want to they don't even want to have a decent conversation with you, but give them something to do. Now they have a shared responsibility, you know?
Mm,
Ask them, to can you grill burgers? Does your grill still work? Can you grill the burgers for us or something? Now they're involved. So
mm-hmm.
now they have something that they can look back and be proud of too.
Stake
So
in.
that's
Yeah.
another way to get them. You meet them where they are and then give them something to do.
Yeah, I agree. Perry, you ready for your shot? Perry, we ready to, oh,
I'm
okay.
gonna
I was
let
about to
go
say.
ahead and take it. I go ahead and take it on this one.
All right. So we all gonna see if we could sip on this one shot. For a block, a church, our neighborhood, starting from almost nothing, what are the first small investments of time, money, and skill that create real leverage? You got the floor, Dr.
Okay.
Campbell.
So one time is one predictable monthly potluck.
Mm,
Okay. Yeah, you don't have to have an agenda. Just show up. This builds a trust that becomes your first line of defense.
mm-hmm,
Okay, money, a micro grant fund. Everyone chips in $5 a month. Vote to give the $200 to the teen starting a lawn care business or a single mom fixing her car. It turns charity into invested communal power.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Okay, a skill share board, a simple list. And Perry mentioned this earlier. Find out in the neighborhood who can fix a leak, who can do taxes, who can grow tomatoes. It turns hidden talent into public utility, making the neighborhood your first call, not a contractor,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. And then the goal isn't complexity, it's interdependence on each other. These small acts build muscle of collective action. So when the real crisis hits, you're not starting from scratch, you're already a team.
Exactly. 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 Dr. Campbell, you ready for your shot?
Boy, look at here. You better know. I'm
You
trying
gonna be hiccuping in a
all
little bit.
all the Kool-Aid, baby, pass it this way.
If we're serious about community sovereignty, what core values and boundaries have to be written into our neighborhood covenants so this does not just become another power grab?
Okay, so of course, to build real sovereignty and stop a power grab, the covenant must be built on pillars. Okay? I didn't say one, I said several.
Mm-hmm.
Number
Mm-hmm.
one is core values. Okay? And that's people over property. The well being of every resident must come before profit, project, or policy. Number two, no one is disposable. Okay? Even the ones that say they checked out, no one is disposable. We
Right.
protect our most vulnerable and we lead with care, not punishment. Meet them where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Number three is transparency is a rule, not a suggestion. All decisions and money flows are open books. And number four, we grow everyone's power. Leadership rotates, skills are taught, not hoarded. Essential boundaries is the next core value, okay? And
Mm-hmm.
that's the guardrails. So, number one is no gatekeeping,
No
okay?
gatekeeping.
No gatekeeping, okay? Help is never conditional on agreement, theft, or belief. We feed people because they're hungry, not because they think like us. Uh-huh.
Exactly.
Yeah. Money serves, it doesn't rule. No individual or corporation can bankroll decisions. Community funds stay in community control.
Yes.
Okay. Then there's a consensus, not control. Major decisions require deep discussions and everyone's voice, not just a major vote that creates winners and losers. Okay. And then, of course, the community has the right to say no. Any resident can block an action that they believe causes harm, triggering more talk until we find a better way. This
Absolutely.
makes this makes a living covenant. I'm sorry, this makes a covenant a living tool for protection,
Mhm.
not just a new set of chains. It's a simple pact. We share power, we operate in light, we prioritize homes over profit, and we protect our neighbors. That's the firewall against a power grab. So, and the
Absolutely.
number one thing that I uh the number one thing that I really, really highlight is power rotates. And that way we don't have no big eyes and little U's.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So everybody has a chance to be the leader, and when it's your turn, you can step into this lane. But right now, this person is the leader, and we follow that lead.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. Um, my shot is what protection strategies do we need from day one so that when this new community power starts working, it can't be easily infiltrated, bought off, or shut down. And so like Dr. Campbell say, let me she and Dustin said it also, but let me be clear. If we don't build protections in the foundation,
That's
they will
right.
exploit, infiltrate, and sabotage what we're building, just as we have seen in the past. And these
Mhm.
protections look like transparency,
Right.
clear, clean, records, 100%. Nothing that can come back and bite us later on down the line. And again,
Mhm.
if you don't understand being a president, there's the class for you. If you don't understand being a secretary, there's the class for you. If you don't understand being the treasurer, there's the class for you. So that everybody is in compliance when it comes to knowing the responsibilities to continue on.
And there's
um
always for you.
Yeah, but I don't think you're gonna get no for you from me. Not if my government is not even part of it. Um
No,
um
the government is not a part of it. I'm just saying, just have radical transparency. Everybody can ask the question.
what you
That's what
say?
I'm saying.
Everybody got a for you.
Yeah, okay, you can always ask for the information. All
Yes,
money and
indeed.
decisions should be made public on a public ledger.
Open meetings, no secret money. If people
That's right.
can't see what's happening, corruption is already in the room.
That's
Rotation
right.
of roles, like
Sunshine is the
Dr.
best
Campbell say,
disinfectant.
nobody sits on top forever. Exactly. We rotate
Mhm.
responsibilities so no one person becomes the gatekeeper or the king, huh?
Right.
And say,
Mm.
I'm running again in 2028. If you don't sit yourself down, that's outside our constitution. We'll be able to move that way. Security culture. Um, we teach our folks how to document harassment, right? Recognize agent behavior and protect sensitive information without becoming paranoid. That's one thing
Mhm.
I have seen in civilians. Y'all are paranoid about moving freely in the space and liberties and pursuit of happiness that's given to you all. I don't understand that. But would have to eradicate that. Shared leadership. Elders, I did not say seniors. Elders, I did not say seniors. Elders, youth workers, and parents all have a voice. When power is spread out into the community, it it's seen from different levels. I may not be able to come up with the resolution, but the resolve is in a 4-year old or a 5-year old. And being that they are part of that rotation, we're able to hear what that resolve looks like from a different perspective, right? We're not building a cult, y'all. That's this is not the
Mm-mm.
David Koreshi, okay? At all. This is not the 45th and 47th presidency of the United States of America. This is not it. That's cultish. This is not. This is community. We're building a covenant with each other, with our children, and with the ancestors and elders who we have access to, who
A mutual bond.
survives worse, hoping we do better. That's what we are
Mhm.
doing. 100%. Flashpoint for this particular segment is um, if your community could only start with one real system of people in the next 6 months, what would your first push be? Would it be one, food and supply networks? Would it be two, housing, tenant power? Would it be three, people's safety and legal defense? Or would it be four, community education and schooling? Drop your number and one idea in the comments. We're not just talking theory, we're gathering seeds, y'all. I definitely want y'all to know. So,
Mhm.
excuse me, drop that in the chat if you can. One, food supply networks. Two, housing and tenant power. Three, people safety and legal defense. And four, community education and schooling. Know your rights for this particular segment on our local level is that you have the right to form neighborhood associations, co-ops, and mutual aid networks without asking the city for permission. You don't. And if you go a little further and file it as a nonprofit organization,
Mm-hmm.
you got even more teeth.
Mm-hmm.
You got even more teeth. You can draft people's charters, written covenants for how your community intends to live, share, and protect itself, and then push your local officials to recognize it, okay? And respect it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you do that. You can
All
record
right.
every public meeting, every last one of them. Publish what was said, who voted for what, and how it affects your people. Sunlight is a disinfectant, like
Yes, it
Dr. Campbell
is.
said. If I and if we peek back a little bit further, it was the best disinfectant, especially
Mm-hmm.
when you had other kind of flus and illnesses and deaths.
Send them cheering outside.
Set them cheering outside. Roundtable question for this particular subject is: if the system is not designed to save us, what must a liberated community build first? And how do we keep it honest, accountable, and loving as it grows? Dr. Campbell, you have the floor.
First, you build a shared table. The practical means to meet each other's basic needs: a community pantry, a tool library, a fund for emergencies. This proves your commitment is real, not theoretical.
Mm-hmm.
Then bake in honesty from the start. No secrets. All money and decisions are public record. Anyone can look. No bosses. Leadership rotates, and you rotate the task as well. uh, Share the work, share the power. And then a clear circle of care. The rule is simple. Does this decision protect the most vulnerable among us? If it doesn't, it gets reworked. To
Yes.
keep it loving, make conflict resolution a core skill, not a dirty secret. Train in it. Practice calling each other in, not calling each other out. The goal is a community that feels like a living thing, not an institution. It
Mm.
grows by staying human, accountable, and fiercely protective of its own.
Period.
Period.
Perry, you have the floor.
Um, I want to keep it real simple. I think the first thing we have to do is come together.
Hmm.
For a while, I've said, let's just call a meeting of Beaumont community leaders and see who shows up. Because I guarantee you, depending on who calls it,
It's gonna be depending on who shows up.
you'll get a better insight of who your leadership is and
Yeah.
what your leadership or what your so-called leadership is about.
Yeah.
But most of all, if there's a call for community leaders and you don't know who your community leader is, then that is the opportunity to step up and be that leader.
Absolutely.
But we call our community together for a lot of, I don't want to call it foolishness, because if I call it foolishness and I begin to name some of those events, then people will think that I'm calling them foolishness. But we do spend an inordinate amount
Ah,
of time
we
Mm.
is. Oh
Mhm.
man.
highlighting foolishness and giving roses and passing out poison ivy.
Mm, mm.
Yeah,
We beautifying and poisoning all at the same time.
in a vase, an expensive vase.
Yeah. And so not to be elusive, but I think as Dr. Campbell said, those things we need to do. But the first step is, can we just come together?
Come together. Dustin, you
You
have the
know,
floor.
He didn't want to say foolishness, but I will. All right.
we all have our place. Go and take it. That
it's,
was just an
it's
alley. You go and give me the assist.
it's called accountability and ownership. It's time to have some. Stop looking
Mhm.
past the foolishness and start addressing every problem, not just your big.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it, Dustin. Man, man. This my response. Um, especially, especially when it comes to a liberated community. Um, I'm not sure if everybody listening and watching is sure what a liberated community is, let alone what it have to build first. And so um identifying what it is, what a liberated community is of course paramount, and then everything else on top of that, right?
Mm.
um Trust built by showing up when people are sick, grieving, or struggling, um, keeping our word, even in small things, doing what we say when we're going to do, even when nobody's watching. After we, after that, we build. After that, then we build. Um, in my consultant space, one of the things I've learned in especially when it comes to building structures, and I don't build structures myself. I outsource that, but I pay attention. And they all start with a solid foundation. And so identifying who we are, bringing ourselves to the table for discussion, calling out the foolishness, allowing individuals to know, hey, we ain't going for that shit at all. Don't come over here with that. We ain't going for it. You bring that to the Southeast Texas, whatever you want to call it, group. You bring that to them, and they let them deal with that. But we're not gonna deal with that. Okay. Then again, as we build, we identify food systems that make sure no elder, no child, no neighbor goes hungry. Right. Spaces where we tell the truth, just like we said, without consequences or repercussions. You don't get mad because I told you the truth. You know, not just what sounds good. It is a space where, like Perry said, let's call out our city leaders or community leaders. And when some of these individuals walk into space, we need to be at the door with the, who told you you was a leader? I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, man. You are not a leader. And be 100% correct about our claims, because we're looking at where we've been and how we've been for quite some time. And these alleged leaders that we have in our community, um, I wonder where they leading us, or where they, Yeah, where y'all leading us? Again, a culture where correction is not humiliation, but love. If I can't correct you in a manner of respect and love, and you be able to receive that and go find ways to correct it, and if you don't know how to correct it, if we see you looking for the efforts to correct it, we could at least consider you. But where we check for each other and you not there, because we have to care about each other, not because we want to control or want control, but because we genuinely care. If love and accountability are not in the foundation, the structure rot from the inside. I mean, funky rot, death rot. But if they are, then no politician, no cooperation, no law can stop what we eventually build. I heard the little white folks say that they in their town they building this with particular rules and regulations of who can come into their space. Dag it, we should do the same, even if they do
Mhm.
wear our skin color. So
Mhm.
that brings us to a close of our third segment, and I'll definitely ask Dr. Campbell and the rest of my co-hosts to give us something that'll take us through the rest of the week. Dr. Campbell, you have the floor.
Of course. They starve the roots and wonder why the tree bears no fruit.
Hmm.
Stop begging for crumbs at their table. This week, plant one seed with a neighbor that they cannot control. A shared skill, a spare key, a true story even. Keep your history alive. That is how we begin to harvest our own future.
Yes,
Period.
indeed. Yes, indeed. Correct. Perry, you have the floor.
Okay, I'm gonna leave us with what I call my 2 cents. Back in the day when they wanted your opinion, somebody would say, "Well, give us
If
your
I
two
want,
cents." Here's my 2 cents.
if I
We've been
wanted it,
talking
I'd
about the
ask
many
it for you.
ways they, we've been talking about many of the ways that policy and this administration and the way this country has moved uh, lately to undermine the middle class and devour the poor and the left out or the others as they call it. But here's my 2 cents. Uh, a few weeks ago, the U.S. Mint uh, printed the last penny. And from what the estimates are saying is that that last penny will be auctioned off in the coming year. I think in 2026 or maybe 2028. And they've already estimated that the opening bid for that penny will be 55 million
For a penny?
for the penny. So now, now we are talking about the 1% and how the 1% is ruling, but make it make sense that the rich is willing to throw, or someone will be willing to auction to get that last penny with an opening bid of 55 million. Now, you know, that's that's the rich and that's the games they play.
I got I got some
But
pennies.
I'm just waiting to see who buy it so I can
go in there and switch the penny out. Because again, what are you going to show me about this penny that make it not worth the penny? But here's the point: whatever they did to make that, whatever they did to designate that penny was no longer a penny, just by that one simple certification that says this is the land. And again, that penny, we've been calling it a penny, but that penny ain't nothing but a token at that point. And you paying $55 million for a token. But
A showbiz
enough of
token,
that.
that's it.
Right. But here's where I want to get back and where we started. We talked about the ways in which they are just ripping us off, how they hustling us on every side. Earlier today, I went to my favorite donut shop. I love donut holes. And today the cashier said that the total was $278. I gave her the money, and she said, "Well, I want you to are you willing to make the total 280 because we no longer have pennies. So I can't give you your exact change. I have to give you, the two as if you paid 280s." And I was like, okay, but as I walked out, I was thinking, here is the ripoff. If they aren't circulating pennies anymore, then shouldn't the tax code now be in alliance? Because why are you charging me pennies and then you gonna make me go up to a nickel on my payment?
Yeah.
And that is
why she didn't go down
I
3 pennies?
But
That's what you should
again,
have did.
But again, I'm blaming the business, but that little business is no bigger than that business is just like me. And now they're having to deal with my customers, my costs, and now here we are quibbling over 2 pennies.
2 pennies. Well, 3.
2
Because
pennies.
it costs 3 cents to make a penny.
Right.
That's crazy.
So that's my 2 cents. So that's my 2 cents for the day. I learned.
Well, I'm keeping one.
So y'all be careful out there. I mean, a lot of businesses are saying now that they're not going to take pennies anymore since they aren't in circulation. It costs too much to maintain them. So unless you paying digitally, it's not a big factor. But if you paying in cash, and we still have a cash society out here, that now we're in this sense where your dollar is, depending on how you spend it, may be off 2 cents, 3 cents, even 4.
And you might as well go ahead and chalk that up because I ain't got no pennies, sweetie. And don't take that 2 pennies or that 3 pennies out my dollar, my whole dollar. I want my dollar back.
They gonna charge me the 75 instead of the 80.
I got
It'll
a
be
nickel in the car.
$2.75.
Look, I got 5 pennies in the car.
So yeah, you better keep some pennies on you now. Better keep some pennies on.
So better. That
That
cigarette
business better take that lick.
That part. Y'all better come up with a different tax code because that 1.0825 ain't gonna wipe.
No more.
Dustin, give us our word for the week, man.
Well, word for the week, phrase of the week is Doge. You got right. The Department of Government Efficiency had a grand opening and grand closing of a nice 10 months. Well, those with the whole efficiency, they claim to have saved over $214 billion. That would be fantastic if they didn't cost taxpayers 135 billion on top of the Internal Revenue Service reporting that it'll be about $500 billion in revenue loss due to their cuts.
Mm-hmm.
And their miscounting. I don't want to forget that part.
That miscounting part.
Yeah, because apparently their math has,
They math don't
The
math.
math don't math, huh?
continuously been wrong. But, it came, it saw, it jacked up the country financially, and now it's gone. Everybody gonna pour out whatever you need to pour out to old Doge. They up out of here.
Hey, and also think about, because like I said, me and Dustin do like Sue. Those have your information and you didn't, and they sold it and you didn't authorize them to. So you technically can get in on this class action lawsuit. Pick a lawyer, any lawyer. You could Google them and see who all is participating in this class action lawsuit against the United States of America and Doge
Mhm.
and Elon Musk, because they're targeting him as an individual of Doge. Y'all better get in now, get that money, baby. Get that money. Um, Tonight we talked about something bigger than headlines. Of course, we've identified the conflict we're living in a country where the cost of staying alive has been turned into a tool of control. The cause where decades of decisions that protected profits, police, and power for long before they protected people, right? The consequences we've identified are stressed out parents, sick bodies, young folks checking out, elders dying early, leaving us stuck with seniors, and communities tired and numb. Oh, and let's not forget systems that call that normal, especially under this current 45-47 administration, national administration. But the cure, y'all, the cure we identified is not in a cute, pretty little package. It's with an inspirational quote or something lined along it. That's not the cure. Especially in a concrete, real world way, we have to know that we are the ones who can decide to tell the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, to organize our blocks, our churches, our schools, our circles, to build food systems, housing protections, safety networks, and schools of our own, to love each other enough to correct each other and stay connected. Even when we disagree, especially when we disagree. The government may not be interested in us saving us, but we are responsible for each other.
Mhm.
You can kill, like we say all the time, you can kill a liberator, but you cannot kill the liberation. You can silence a revolutionary, but you cannot erase the revolution that already lives in the people. So I'm asking you tonight, don't just watch this show and nod. Pick one thing, one conversation, one connection, one small act of building and do it this week. If you need questions, put it in the comments. I read questions and so do my co hosts. But do that this week because the ones who plan for us to fail are planning every single day, every night, including when you sleep. If we plan for us to win with the same intensity, the same focus, the same consistency, there is nothing they can do to stop a people who have decided to live. Stay aware, stay unafraid, stay connected, and above all, stay grounded in the one who knows this moment was coming long before it hit the news.
Mhm.
Stay prayed up, stay prayed up, stay
Mhm.
prayed up. Thank y'all for watching. God bless. Good night. See you next time.